Have you ever wondered why so many horse trainers use rope halters rather than webbed halters? We are going to be exploring the reasons why, as well as the fundamental differences between the two types of halters. Most rope halters are made from poly rope that is between 1/4 and 5/16 inches in diameter. You can make your own rope halter very inexpensively. You can purchase the rope at any hardware store, and there are several sites on the internet that have instructions. Webbed halters are thicker and made from sturdy polyester webbing. These webbed halters are ideal for tying the horse, especially if you're hauling the horse in a trailer. The wide web helps to disperse the pressure on the horse's poll and face if they pull back or their head gets jerked in the trailer. Some webbed halters have padding along the pole to cushion any sudden pressure on the halter. Horses should never be tied with a rope halter while unattended for long periods of time. If the horse pulls back and panics, the halter's thinner rope puts strong pressure on the sensitive pole and can cause permanent nerve damage for a horse fighting to get free. However, the rope halter is ideal for training purposes while on a line. In the hands of a competent trainer, precise pressures and signals can be communicated to the horse. A rope halter is made to put pressure on a smaller area. That is how you can give precise signals while training. You need to give even more gentle and subtle signals to very sensitive horses because the narrow rope can easily hurt them if you give too much pressure on their face or poll. So be sure you know what you're doing before working with a horse in a rope halter. Look closely at the rope halter. There are also knots on a rope halter. These knots aren't just randomly placed. Let's focus on the two large knots you will find on the noseband. These aren't just decorations. They are purposely placed where they are. We need to look at the horse's nervous system to understand. The horse has two large nerves that run down either side of their face. You can feel these facial nerves. They feel about the size of a pencil. There is something very important about these nerves. If you gently press on the nerve on one side, look what happens. The horse will move the front leg on that same side backwards. By alternating pressing one side and the other, you can get the horse to back up. This is a great thing to remember if your horse steps on your foot or is getting too pushy. You can use this knowledge to your advantage with the rope halter. The knots are designed to sit on top of these nerves, so a wiggle of the rope prompts the horse to back up. One of the first things I teach a horse is the yo-yo game. This is a vital safety step to keep the horse from barging forward over you. Always strive for the gentlest pressure when working with your horse. Learn to use the rope halter in a gentle way. It can be very painful for the horse when you give a firm pull, so be mindful how you apply pressure. Experience it yourself by tugging firmly on a rope halter that is draped over your hand. Imagine that pressure over your nose or on your face. That's how the horse feels.
Ouch, that would hurt.
So always start with a subtle pressure first when giving a cue to your horse, and slowly increase until the horse responds. Remember to release all pressure when the horse responds. It is the release that teaches, not the pressure. The release is the reward. The rope halter should always be adjusted correctly. A rope halter that hangs too low can easily hurt a horse's nose. You wouldn't want pressure applied to the tip of the nose bone. Too much pressure accidentally applied could fracture this sensitive bone. If the halter were to sag so much that the horse got a foot in it, it could cause serious injury. Too high, and it could interfere with the horse's eyes and apply too much pressure on the horse's face. Hold the halter in your left hand. Place your right arm over the horse's upper neck and grab a hold of the right side of the halter. Gently slip the halter over the nose. Remember, the horse's face is very sensitive, just like yours. I like to use the halter as a good face massage for the horse as I bring it upwards. You want the horse to have good feeling about all the tack and equipment used on them. There will be an open loophole that will sit up by the horse's ear. Pull the loose end of the rope over the horse's poll and down through the loophole. Hold the end rope in one hand and the loophole in the other. Loop the end rope back up towards the loop and tie it in a simple knot. The end rope points back towards the horse's hindquarters instead of forward, dangerously close to the eyes. Pull the rope backward when securing it. When you look at the final knot, it should have a long tail pointing backwards and a simple but secure knot just behind his ear. Here are some don'ts to always bear in mind. Never turn a horse loose in a rope halter. For that matter, don't turn a horse out in any halter, but definitely not a rope halter. A horse turned loose in a rope halter could catch it on something, panic, and get hurt. For the same reason, I would never tie a horse in a trailer with a rope halter. He might get off balance at times and end up pulling on the halter, and I don't want too much pressure on his face or poll just because he gets off balance. In the trailer, a horse should be in a breakaway halter in case of an emergency. Don't tie a horse that habitually panics or pulls back on a rope halter. The rope halter may make him worse by increasing his panic and fear when he pulls. As the horse pulls back, the rope will bite into the poll of the horse. This is the same place a predator would bite them if they pounce on the horse. No wonder a horse panics if it pulls back. As we work with our horse, we want to strive for close communication and understanding of our horse, and our horse with us. The Bible has a word for this: fellowship. This word means a very close and intimate understanding between two. Jesus calls us to fellowship with Him, to strive for a closer understanding, and to be able to hear His voice and guidance. We don't want the kind of relationship where Jesus has to shout at us to get our attention. He wants the kind of fellowship where we can hear his faintest whisper. We need to be so in tune with the Lord that we can discern his gentle, loving directions. Just as it is possible to have a close and unbreakable bond with our horse, we need to strive to be attentive and listen to Christ's instructions for our life. A life spent in harmony and unity with God is the most precious treasure in this life. It is even better than that close and sweet bond between human and horse. God is faithful, who has called you into fellowship with his Son, Jesus Christ, our Lord. 1 Corinthians 1:9.
With Ranger, there's no danger.
Yay, Ranger! Go, Ranger!